In early 2014, Netflix came to us. I was at the New York Times at the time, and they said, season 2 of Orange is the New Black is coming out, and we're trying to reach every kind of audience that is interested in this show. And they had already done some work with BuzzFeed, kind of going the humorous angle, and they were looking for a more serious take, a more serious piece of content that would appeal to a different type of audience for the show. And they were looking for people who saw it as, as something real, as a reflection of true story, of people's real experience of prison. And they wanted to have the policy discussion and discuss the challenges of prisons. And so the New York Times, they determined, was the right place for that. So what we ended up creating was this 1,500-word investigative piece that I got to write while I was there as part of the team, called Women Inmates: Why the Male Model Doesn't Work. And we basically used government data and first-person stories of current and former inmates and reform workers in the prison industry and researchers and doctors, and talked to all of them about why women's experience of prison is different than men's, and what, if anything, in the process of women being in prison could be changed to better facilitate their rehabilitation. And the piece was supplemented with a 3-part mini documentary that let these women tell the story in their own voices, talk about their experience and the challenges that they experienced both in prison and upon getting out of prison. And it had infographics and audio and some really beautiful illustrations that animated as you were on the page. And the final piece, I think people found it really surprising, and we got a tremendous amount of press coverage, and even our own reporters and editors from our newsroom were acknowledging the piece and giving it some cautious praise. I think the reason that it resonated with people, both our readers and sort of the industry press, is because it really was authentic. Netflix wasn't splicing in clips from the show to try to capitalize on these women's experiences to sell subscriptions. They were really saying, we have a show about women in prison, and we want to talk about true stories of women in prison too, so you could see why this narrative is compelling. And it really resonated with people, and we saw tremendous performance on it. We won a number of awards, one from Digiday and one from Media Post OMA Award. So it was wonderful for us to see that when we stayed true to our roots as the New York Times, T-Brand Studio being the branded content team, when we stayed true to that brand, we were able to create something that lived up to the standards of the New York Times. And that, for us, was really the goal. Most of us had come from journalism, and it was so important for us that we not sully the reputation of the New York Times. They had spent 163 years building that reputation. We certainly didn't want to damage it. And so I think there's a lesson there, which is whatever is true for your publication or the publication that you're partnering with, lean into that, because that's why people are there. That's why readers are coming, and so you have to live up to those expectations if you want the content you co-create to resonate the same way their editorial content does.